What's up, guys? This is Burstrom FG here, and it's time for something new. And by new, I mean this is gonna be the first video, and not only is it something South Park related, but this is also the first video in which I'm doing a tier list of ranking the characters from worst to first. I stole that from Gem Reviews, by the way, so yeah, I didn't make that up. Keep in mind that this took me a while to actually complete, not only with putting the characters in the ranking, but also just taking notes on why I think they deserve to be on the B tier, A tier, all that. So, please respect my opinions if you don't agree, and if you do agree, then, well, thank you. But, I probably may not say much for the characters just because I don't really know what I think of them. I mean, it's either because I don't know what I can say other than, oh, Kenny, he's unique, driven character and really relatable and funny, but I really don't. I won't drag this video too long because, well, unless I feel like I want to, but this is literally the best I can do with the notes. And if I don't say much about the characters, then keep in mind it's because I don't really have an opinion or they just don't have personality. So, I guess we'll get started. with the S tier, and then we're working our way down to the D tier. So, let's start off with Kenny. Now, Kenny, I said this a lot on Twitter, and with every other not every other character. I made this tier list I made the tier list and posted it on Twitter, but I feel like I needed to go more in depth on why I think, these characters deserve that ranking, so yeah. And the reason why Kenny's my favorite, obviously. Most people who are friends with me or follow my social media already know that. But Kenny, he's unique driven. He's a unique driven character and really relatable and funny. And quite frankly, he's the only one who doesn't behave like all the other kids. And he can be seen as somewhat of an outcast because, even though he's usually with Cartman, Stan, and Kyle, they don't really seem to acknowledge him, especially when it comes to his deaths. I mean, I don't know what the thing is. I forgot what the thing is called when you suffer. I don't know what the thing is called when, you have a fear of being alone. I think Kenny doesn't like to be alone. I mean, the Scoots pretty much proved that because he was the only one without a phone. So, I mean, I'm not trying to say that I'm like him because obviously I'm not poor, but like, I'm actually middle class, but still. Also, his episodes are actually kind of funny, like in Major Boo Gauge when he was literally. I'm not gonna go into too detail because it's kind of gross, but like at the same time, it really is funny. I mean, most of you who've seen the episode know what I'm talking about. Also, his alter ego as Mysterion is probably the best in the Coon and Friends episodes because, he has like one super. He claims that his superpower is to not die, but he also claims that as like a real superpower because that's what actually happens. Because anytime he dies, the other characters don't seem to really care, and then he just gets reborn like at least 52 times, at least according to a season 4 episode. So yeah, I guess we can put him on here. Next up is Kyle. Now, Kyle, I mean, he basically kind of is like Kenny because he can be sort of seen as a social outcast, except not as much as him. And he's really confident in, he isn't afraid to speak his mind no matter how many times he's going to get ridiculed for it. I mean, this literally was a big thing. I mean, this was more present when people started really ridiculing him just for saying that Caitlyn Jenner is a hero. Well, no, not just for saying Caitlyn Jenner is a hero, but more like, ever since he made the claim that Caitlyn Jenner was a hero, it caused him to give more speeches or something about a debate. I don't even know. I haven't seen season 19 in a while. I mean, I just know that Kyle's speech literally made an impact, a horrible impact on everyone around him. Like, especially the students at school. And, he also got the exact same thing when he tried to blow up Canada because he didn't like Terrence and Phillip as much as he did back then. So, but he's pretty, I guess back in the earlier seasons, he was sort of the same as everyone else, where he started screaming and cussing, but like, unlike the other ones, he actually does it out of genuine anger. So like, it's not like he does it just to be an asshole, there's always something before that. Especially when it comes to his relationship with Cartman. So, I guess we can move on to Stan. Stan also goes on the S tier because he's relatable like Kyle and Kenny, but he's slightly careless nowadays. I mean, I'm not... Well, no, to be fair, he's not really careless, but, like... the show literally says he's the most sensitive out of the four, but I really don't agree with that. I think Kyle is the more sensitive because... He has to face more... He's the one getting shit on more than Stan. But, like, Stan is usually just laid back and chill. But, like, ever since episodes like You're Getting Old, I think we started realizing that Stan doesn't like becoming old, and he becomes more depressed, and... and I love how Mr. Mackey literally thought he had Asperger's. That was funny. But I feel like nowadays, I mean, he just sides with Cartman a lot more, which... I'm not gonna lie, just feels out of character because... he's not him. He's not Cartman. He wouldn't do bad things. I mean, and even if he did, which he has, he always has redeemable qualities, but I don't know. I don't know why he turned against Kyle, who has been... I mean, Stan and Kyle have been on the same page when it comes to their views on Cartman. But, I don't know, I think he just feels a little careless and unforgiving towards him. I don't know. It makes him kind of an asshole, but like... there really isn't... There's still hope for that to go away. And, we also got to see a sensitive side in the pandemic special. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. And now we move on to the A tier. Now, Randy deserves the A tier because Randy is actually really funny with his actions. I mean, you see him on screen and no matter what he does, you instantly get a laugh out of him. But, I don't know, I feel like his sarcastic, unfunny attitude just sort of gets in the way. Like, I don't know, he's just, I mean, I know that the show's not supposed to be taken seriously, but like, there are just a lot of moments with certain characters, especially him, it's not even funny. And like, him, ever since he moved to Integrity Farms, I feel like that's when I started to lose my respect for him. But not entirely, because he still had his funny moments. Like, even in the recent special, like, the pandemic special, and like, some of season 23. But like, episodes like About Last Night, Medical Fried Chicken, and The Losing Edge, honestly, were really consist of some of Randy's best scenes, where he literally tried to fight the Bat Dad, and then he took off his shirt anytime he fights someone. Oh, oh my god. But I don't know. He can have some raunchy moments, but like, his funny moments keep me from sort of despising him, so I guess so. And then we can move on to Mr. Garrison, who also goes in the A tier. Now, Mr. Garrison, he's basically a sarcastic teacher that doesn't really hate his job, but like, he does a lot of really questionable things, like teaching students about stuff that, that at least 5th graders should know. But like, back when the show first started airing, all the kids were like in 3rd grade, and he's still teaching these weird things. But like, I don't know, most of it can come off really funny. And like, even in the later seasons, he can still be funny, but ever since he became Trump, and he got out of that in the vaccine special, but like, during the time when he became Donald Trump, I almost lost respect for him. But like, some of his dialogue when he was Trump did make me smile. And that kept me from saying he's a bad character when he's not. And he's been through a lot of crazy things, like, him actually turning into women for like, 3 seasons, season 9, season 10, and season 11, he was Mrs. Garrison. And then like season 12, the first half of season 12, he like sort of went back to being Mr. Garrison. And when he got fired as a teacher, only to come back, I love how he's beating up the Canadian president, and then he's just mocking how all Canadians talk. That was just really funny. So, yeah, Mr. Garrison, A tier. And I guess we can move on to Butters. Now, Butters, we all know Butters is very innocent and cheerful, and to this day, he always tries to be happy even with the pandemic, but he gets manipulated way too much. And when he stuck up for himself in season 20, I feel like that was a little late. I still hate season 20, but I feel like Butters did the right thing and stood up to Cartman for all the shit he's put him through. Like, since the beginning. Or at least until season 5 or 6, that when the Cartman and Butters relationship started to sort of grow. But Cartman always was bossy towards Butters until Butters stood up for him. Stood up to him. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. But he does have his issues, and he does a little weird things. well, not really weird things, but he just does stuff at wrong timing. I mean, I'm glad Butters, he stuck up for Cartman, but I feel like he stood up to Cartman, but I feel like he did it at, like, the wrong time. If he stood up to Cartman after Cartman was telling him to do something in a very mean way, I guarantee you that would have worked. But I don't know. He's not perfect. And I know he's the only character who doesn't use curse words, but he gets manipulated too much and he falls for the wrong thing. I mean, I sort of expected him to be smarter than that even now, but I don't know. I guess that would sort of break his character, where it steps out of his original personality. But you gotta have some development, and I guess Butters did have that, but I feel like he should have had at least enough. So, I mean, the characters, I already showed them before, did have development. Not as much as the S tier, but they had development nonetheless, and I guess I can't fault them too much for that, so. Butters, A tier. And then PC Principal. PC Principal, the dude literally he's literally a college guy. He's literally in his mid-20s, early 20s. And he's still, like, he literally has the power to be the school's principal. Which I have nothing against, because, to be honest with you, his rantings about microaggressions are literally hilarious. But in my opinion, it kind of went too far when he tortured Kyle just for saying that, for saying in his own opinion that Caitlyn Jenner wasn't a hero, and then he started flipping out. And he got his other PC friends to do the same thing. I mean, even Randy was also PC too, so, like. But, like, now that Kyle admitted that Caitlyn Jenner was a hero, but I don't think he really meant it. He only said that just to stop. He didn't mean it, but he wanted the whole rave party to just stop. Because, the PC people think that's a microaggression to say that Caitlyn Jenner isn't a hero. In his relation, and I feel like him fawning over Strong Woman is actually kind of funny. I mean, especially since Hootie and the Blowfish was playing, which I actually really like that song. I really like the song Hold My Hand. I'm glad it was playing in the episode. Yeah, so that's PC Principal. Now, Cartman is so he is extremely overrated. I mean, I can see why people would claim him as, like, the best character ever, but I have to disagree. I mean, later, especially in the later seasons where they try to make him sympathetic as possible, even though that's not what they were supposed to do. They were supposed to make him get comeuppance for shitty actions. And now they're trying to make out Kyle as the bad guy just for calling Cartman out. Like, I feel like the episode Buddha Box was too sympathetic on Cartman. I mean, Cartman, yeah, he's a bad kid. He makes up dumb excuses, but, like, why does it have to make him sympathetic? I really don't see the justification for it. Oh, my friend just, my friend messaged me on Instagram. But yeah, back on topic. Yeah, Cartman is, like, very overrated, and, like, he has the potential of being a hero. He has done a lot of heroic things, like saving Kyle's life, but he only did that just so Kyle could, in his own words, suck his balls. And he also, he tried to save Kyle from HIV, but I mean, he is a really bad person, but like only at least 90% of the series he does a lot of bad things, and like 10% of his character, you know, it's a step in the right direction, and I'm not gonna fault him too much for it, but like he doesn't really make me laugh as much as Kenny, or Randy, but there was never a single moment of the show where it turned me off just because he was in it. So I think he has, I think he the character traits. It's doing. Cartman has done pretty well in the show, and that's something I can, definitely give him props for. But again, he's just overrated. I don't claim him as my favorite, and I never will. But that hardly means I hate him. So yeah, and I guess we can move on. To Wendy. Now, Wendy, I like Wendy. I really do. But, she's too passionate about politics, in which I really don't like politics in South Park. So, like, the fact that she is a politician, I don't know, it sort of keeps me from watching her moments, but like when it comes to anything else, I feel like she nails it. Like she is a really good personality, she's a strong character, but she doesn't really listen. I mean, she sometimes plays the victim a lot. Like, I feel like a good example would have to be in You Have Zero Friends, where Wendy literally thought Stan planned to get his own account, when in reality it was Kyle who made it up for him. Well, like, I don't know, she won't listen. And then we have other episodes like Gluten-Free Ebola. Well, no, not Gluten-Free Ebola. I think she had every right to do that. But my favorite episode of Wendy is Breast Cancer Show Forever, because it really shows that she isn't going to take crap from Cartman no more. And so that she beats the shit out of him. It was really fun to watch. It was really satisfying, and that was the episode that got me liking Wendy more than I already should have. But I don't know. She thrives on politics a little too much, but I'm not going to harp on people for liking politics. I just don't like seeing it in my favorite shows. I mean, especially in season 20, but, Wendy was not a part of that. Wendy was not a part of this whole politics thing in season 20, but it did happen a lot earlier, but, it is what it is at the end of the day, and I do wish that if she were to talk about politics again, hopefully it doesn't happen too much in the future seasons. But at this point, it's bound to happen either ways. But I'm at least hoping. I'm not demanding, I'm just hoping. But that's really all I have to say about Wendy. Now, alright, now Bebe. Bebe, I mean, I like her, but she doesn't have that much personality as Wendy, but I will admit her design is a huge positive aspect, despite it being the same as others, but there are times in this show where she wasn't a good friend to Wendy, like she literally killed her over fucking shoes. Like, literally she killed her over fucking shoes, and like, since that episode, it wasn't... I mean, that was like almost 14 years ago since that happened. If you guys didn't know, the list came out in November 18th, 2007. But and then like ever since that episode, I feel like their relationship went downhill. But and she also plays the victim too and has no consistency, especially, well, at least in the earlier seasons when it came to her relationship with Cartman. Sometimes she'd like him for his shit and sometimes she wouldn't. You know. I mean, she's literally just a stereotypical gold digger, you know? I mean, she only likes people for their jewelry and shit, not for who they are, and I don't know. A great, really, really good design, but personality, I have to duck a few points because she doesn't really have much of that other than being a stereotypical gold digger. And her relationships with other people, well, especially, I mean, with Wendy, I literally thought she got a ton of shit for being a feminist, but no, she literally got a ton of shit for being a fucking politician, which, politics, if you guys didn't know, they have a way of separating friendships, so I can kind of see why they don't talk to each other as much, but like, or sit next to each other, but like, I don't know. That's life. I'm not mad about it, I'm just observing. But yeah, once again, not much personality, but design was able to compensate for it, and that's all that matters, I guess. Alright, now we can move on to the B tier. So, Mr. Mackey, Mr. Mackey, he can give great advice. He can give great advice to other. He can be a really good counselor. I mean, but I feel like his humor is a bit bland. I mean, literally all he ever does is like, he doesn't have much personality. He doesn't have that much personality other than just saying a sentence and ending it with "okay." Which honestly, I mean, I'm not gonna say it's bad. I actually like that phrase, but he didn't have that much personality up until the later seasons. I mean, there were times in the show where he sided with Cartman, and literally nobody in the show should ever done that. But like, that's just stereotypical. That's just how most adults in South Park act. They're just very ignorant. Yeah, I forgot to write down the notes for it, so I'm just going off the top of my head of why he is in the B tier. Half of the time he's just boring. And he's not really that appealing as the fans make it out to be. And his design is a little bit weird. I mean his head is literally so fucking big. But again, I'm not gonna harp on the designs too much, but I feel like there are some character designs in the show that don't feel right. But other than that, he can be a good counselor. I mean, there was like that episode in the Scoots where he tried to help Kenny, get rid of the signals for the e-scooters and the phones. And, like, I love how he said that, oh, we don't need scooters because I'll get a fucking car. That was actually pretty badass, not gonna lie. I mean, why would you want to go anywhere with scooters? I mean, cars are literally more safer to drive. So yeah, he's in B tier. I'm gonna move on to Heidi. Now, Heidi, despite not having that much character, she was decent in the earlier seasons, but went downhill in 2016 and 2017 because she was dating Cartman and she was manipulated like Butters, except it didn't last too long, thankfully, because towards the end of season 21 she finally realized what Cartman has been doing to her all along. But, like, I really didn't like the romantic relationship between Cartman and Heidi because it just, not only was it cheesy, but it didn't make sense. Like, how come Heidi was the only girl who liked Cartman? That literally never made any sense. I mean, keep in mind and follow that egg. When Heidi was paired up with Cartman, she literally scoffed, like she was literally pissed off. So that Cartman and Heidi were paired up before season 20. Or at least I think they were. I don't know. I don't pay attention to ships as much as I used to last year, but I don't know. So then I guess we can move on to Craig. So overall, Heidi, I like her design, but seasons 20 and 21 were not good seasons for this character, so. And also, fucking emoji analysis. I guarantee you this was meant to Emoji analysis, I bet you, was meant to promote the Emoji Movie, which was a year after this season came out. So yeah, that's another. This is another footnote I would like to add. But yeah, and I guess we can move on to Craig. Now, Craig is like so monotone, but he slightly grew personality in the later seasons. And is a pretty good boyfriend to Tweek, but, back then he started flipping off random people and lied about it, and like the episode that I guess pretty much proved his character, despite him being so monotone, was, it gave us more insight on who he was the Pandemic trilogy, where he literally acknowledged that the boys, Cartman, Stan, Kyle, and Kenny, what they did was really stupid, and he literally got scammed out of his money and called them out on it, which, not gonna lie, was really satisfying, but he doesn't have personality. He has personality, just not that much. He doesn't emote well. He keeps that. He always has that blank face, and I know they do that to save money, but like, goddamn. But like, ever since he was Tweek's boyfriend, he and Tweek were boyfriends. I think that's pretty much why. That's pretty much what made him grow as a character, because he didn't have relationships back then. He didn't have that many relationships back then, so I feel like him being with Tweek is a way to show us that he cares for him. the episode Put It Down just proves that he is a really good boyfriend to Tweek. So, yeah, we'll put him down. We'll put him on B tier. Just cause. And I guess we can move on to Clyde. I don't know why there's two of them, but whatever. Clyde, he's similar to Craig, except he's more childlike. And he whines a lot. Just not in a funny way. And I don't know, his attempts at getting girls were just really poor. I mean, I know the list just says that he's the fucking hottest he's the cutest boy in the school, but like, that was all set up by Bebe just because she wanted free shoes. So I didn't put, the reason why I didn't put Bebe on B tier is because her design makes up for it, and not gonna lie, she does things that are really cute, but with Clyde, he just doesn't have the potential of, actually becoming, he doesn't really work well as a ladies' man. And and I love how in Cartman's Silly Hate Crime 2000 that he was claimed to be the second fattest kid when he's the same as every other. He's the same as pretty much all the other kids except Cartman. So, yeah, we'll just put him here. I don't have too much of an opinion on it. We'll just, put him here. So then we move on to, hold on my notes. Tweek. We'll move on to Tweek. Now, Tweek is fine, but him going crazy in almost any episode he's in just gets old. But I keep mentioning the later seasons, but that's only because the characters they actually have a way of, growing as characters, like at least the side characters. So, Tweek, he became more calm, like, ever since he was dating Craig. Back in season 19, because I don't know, he claims he said at one point that he felt alone, so that's why he's probably the way he is, but that's probably because he never really, as far as I'm concerned, he probably never got into any relationship with anybody, not even a boy or a girl, but like when he was paired up with Craig, like he had no choice. It was it's literally this fucking thing called yaoi or something, which is literally drawn by girls to create gay couples or something. And I guess his freakouts can be funny on some occasions. Like in Put It Down, when he was literally overreacting on how North Korea was gonna bomb America. Well, he didn't overreact. I think that's what North Korea was gonna do. Yeah, North Korea was gonna bomb America, and he freaked out. I really laughed. I honestly just laughed really hard at that. So yeah, that's Tweek. Hold on, and then I guess Sharon's up next. Sharon has a decent design. She's good as her own character when she does things independently. But honestly, I feel like her relationship with Randy just gets really weak. I don't know, she's like, very insecure a lot of the time. And very, I don't know, it just seems to be, I mean, her being alone just seems to is literally a requirement, considering the fact that very she's very upset anytime she talks to Randy, because I don't know, I guess Randy's the one who strikes first or something. Which, to be fair, that is true, but like, I don't really like seeing these scenes, but you know, that that's what it is. I mean, to be fair, it was tolerable in the early seasons. But that's only because they didn't come out. They didn't appear as much as later. They didn't appear as much as later on. So that's why I thought the early seasons of Sharon and Randy's relationship was better. I mean, I think it became more. I think the relationship literally became more apparent, or more frequent, since they went to Integrity Farms. So that's why. That's how this. That's why, it's re-escalating. So I guess Sharon will be put on here. I guess we can move on to Chef, he has decent advice, but like, none of his songs are catchy. But like, I don't know. I can understand why he gets annoyed when the kids ask him really stupid questions or really dumb advice. But I feel like the thing that makes him more, I feel like the biggest role, I feel like, I suppose is like one of his biggest roles would have to be in the season 10 premiere, which was Chef's last episode, which was 2 years before the voice actor Isaac Hayes, passed away. Like, I'm just gonna go on a little footnote once again. If you guys didn't know, Isaac Hayes left the show because, not because, I think it was because Scientologists want him to. So he didn't do it on his own, because it was literally by demand. It was on March 1st, 2006. Because of how South Park handled Scientology, and they said that South Park is a terrible show since they think it's serious when it's not. But yeah, that's my footnote. And the episode, The Return of Chef, his lines, I mean, you keep in mind that his lines were literally recycled from older episodes, but I feel like some of them are somewhat believable, even though they're trying to make him out to be some sort of brainwashed guy. They're trying to make him out to be brainwashed until he dies. Until his character dies. Until Chef dies. But like, even back then, before his death, he was helpful towards the kids, but I don't know, I feel like it always backfired and it wasn't that inspirational. So that's why I should put him down here. Put him in the middle at least, so. And I guess we can move on with Jimmy. Now, Jimmy, I mean, he works well for a disabled kid, but he does a lot of questionable things like joining a gang full of black people. I'm not trying to be like, I'm not trying to say like that's like, oh, that's a weird thing, that's a really controversial thing, but I don't know. It's just a head scratcher on why he did that. He and Timmy both. And I guess he does have the potential of being a comedian one day, like a famous comedian, but I think he needs to work on his delivery. But like there was literally an episode called Fish Sticks where he was working on a joke about fish sticks and like Cartman stole it all, but the impact on the joke really, it was like lots of people in the show seemed to like really like it. So I think that's a sign of him becoming a potential comedian one day as he gets older. But even with that, he I don't know. I lost my train of thought here. I don't know what to say. He does have the potential of being a comedian, but almost none of his jokes really got a laugh out of me. Even though that's what a comedian's supposed to do, make people laugh, but I don't know, Jimmy kind of failed at that. And I guess we can move on to Timmy. I mean, I know what you're thinking. Timmy, he has no personality, he just says his name, but you have to understand that his superhero counterpart is the only instance where it sort of gives him personality. But I will be fair and say that he as a whole doesn't have that many traits other than being Jimmy's best friend, or like, you know, he does a lot of things with Jimmy, but that doesn't give him personality. Even though he literally just says his name, like Timmy, living off Timmy, and all that. I mean, is it fair for me to really say that, considering the fact that he doesn't appear in the show? He doesn't appear in the he does, but like he doesn't have that many roles as much as, you know, Heidi or Craig or Clyde or Tweek. So he's very low B tier. But, you know, he's low B tier because of his superhero counterpart. And not gonna lie, that was actually kind of really dope of him. And thus, we move on to the C tier, which is mediocre. I'm sorry. I'm really tired, and like I feel like this was like basically a short day. So I guess we can put Token on here. Token, he's basically portrayed as a normal student, but he didn't have that much personality, but he had slight development ever since Here Comes the Neighborhood. If you don't know what that episode is, it's about him becoming rich, but he also became an outcast and everyone making fun of him. But it's not like he doesn't really have, even nowadays he doesn't even grow. I mean, he doesn't really grow as a character. He's just sort of stale, and he's not that appealing. Even like, I don't know what difference would it make. It would make a slight difference if Here Comes the Neighborhood didn't exist, but That was back in season 5. So that was a 2001 episode. So yeah, not much to say about him. He gets C tier. And I guess we can move on to Ike. I mean, Ike is the only Canadian who isn't the same as others. I mean, he doesn't have Terrence and Phillips' mentality of just farting and making jokes. Really immature jokes, but he does have a consistent personality for a baby. I mean, the episode that really showed it, or not really showed it, but like the episode that really showed us. I mean, the only episode I can think of about him was the episode Taming Strange, when he was going through puberty as literally a baby. I mean, he was like, if you guys don't know, he's like 5 years old and he's going through puberty, but I don't know. It's South Park. I shouldn't complain about it too much. And you know, he is really useful in some episodes, like in About Last Night and Splatty Tomato. And remember the kick the baby joke back in season 1 in the movie? Back in the early season and the movie, when, you know, Kai would constantly yell, "Kick the baby!" And then he'd say, "Don't kick the baby, kick the baby." Wah! Which was kind of funny, but it wasn't something I'd rewatch over and over again. I mean, I didn't die out laughing, I just sort of chuckled a bit. But with, honestly, 2 episodes aren't really, or actually no, 1 episode or 2. 2 episodes aren't really enough to show off his personality. And it's the same thing with Token. Like, it wasn't just Here Comes the Neighborhood, it was also episodes like, I forgot what episode it was, but when it was about, like, Cartman literally shooting him. Like, that was a season 17 episode when he shoots him in the arm and then he gets pissed off. That was another episode. And then there was another called Here Comes Jesse Jackson, where he calls, you know, Randy said the N-word and Token sort of took it out on Stan. So yeah. But yeah, back to Ike. Overall, little to no personality, but he's just a little brother, so I mean, if anyone should be useful, it's Kyle, because he's the one looking out for him, so yeah. Principal Victoria's up next. Now, Principal Victoria, I mean, she somewhat understands the issues with the school before she got fired, but usually sounds pissed whenever she informs a student about anything. Like, she says, "Insert student, come to the office immediately," and, comes to the office, and then and then when you, like, if any teacher in real life says that, you know you've done something wrong, but, like, when it comes to Principal Victoria, She doesn't even bother telling the students what she did wrong. She literally reminds them about something, and then, that's it. Which really, this never made sense to me. It really did. But yeah, that's all I can say about her. And then I guess we can move on to Strong Woman. No. Strong Woman, she has the potential of being a good wife to PC Principal and a good vice principal. But to this day, it still has a ton of complications, and she's more defensive than Wendy and Bebe. I mean, at least when it comes to, like, her... At least when it comes to, like, you know, like, this literally... It literally happened ever since they were raising PC babies. So, and when I say has the potential for any character, that doesn't mean it actually is. If you want to know how she's doing as a wife, I don't think she's progressing the way that I expected her to be. But I don't know. She's getting there. She's sort of going in the right path. I mean, she's not really, you know, she's not abusive, but, like, she can play the victim every now and then, and that really just sets her down. She's very low C tier, and hopefully she grows more enough for me to actually put her on the B tier, on the mid B tier. And I guess we can move all the way down to the D tier. So I guess we can start off with Harrison Yates. Now, Harrison, I mean, he's just a naive police officer and doesn't provide enough evidence for his claims. And him being a mean-spirited asshole is not even funny. I mean, he literally accused Cartman and Kenny for being the school shooters just because they were the only two loners in the school. And, like, you know, that's just really shitty reasonings, but I mean, he's not even a useful police chief. I mean, there are many episodes that proved it, and and even after the boys broke out of jail and, like, they saved the day, supposedly, you know, Harrison doesn't really, he's just a crazy motherfucker that isn't funny and, I don't know, does crazy things for the sake of doing crazy things. It's not entertaining, and it never will be. And we can move on to Nathan. Nathan is just a blind version of Jimmy and Timmy. I mean, I'm not going to use disabled as a complaint, so, but him being abusive towards Mimsy is funny, but it gets old when it really gets old over time. Like, anytime Nathan and Mimsy are on screen, he just tells him to shut up, which it's not mean-spirited, it's just sort of boring to watch. But, like, I'm glad he got his comeuppance when he did the same thing to Classy, and, you know, he beat him. She literally just pushed him across the glass wall, and I don't know. That was just payback, honestly, and that was just payback at its finest. And, yeah. And then we move on to Mr. Slave. Mr. Slave, honestly, has just a really poor design. Doesn't have that much personality. I mean, he's basically just a worse version of Chef, honestly. He's not really a worse version of Chef. I mean, just because you give advice doesn't mean you're Chef, but, like, he's just really bland, and it's just there to be... It just shows how he's He's just there just to show how gay Mr. Garrison really is. And I mean, there's literally an episode where he literally shoves Mr. Garrison shoves Lemmy up his ass, which is just really weird and really uncomfortable to watch. But if I'm being honest here, his Mr. Service is not much better either. I think his design is a little worse. Well, not really worse. It's I can't really decide which design is worse, but like, you know, there are just characters who are just there to show how gay Mr. Garrison really is. You know, they're not their own characters. They're not doing shit independently, so yeah, I never really cared for him. And I guess last but not least, we can move on to Shelly. Shelly, I really don't like her at all. Shelly, she has no personality in the beginning, and she has no personality now. And she just does the same thing of just being angry without, you know, just be less boring. Actually have some development in your life. Stop, you know, and like her calling everyone turds, like in any circumstance given to her, is not even funny. And what really puts her on low D tier is the fact that she was literally the cause of Randy going to Integrity Farms. I won't say how, because I think it's kind of gross, but you know, it's really hypocritical. It's really hypocritical for her to say that she hates Integrity Farms when she herself was the one who caused it. So yeah, that's pretty much my entire South Park tier. I really apologize if I haven't said much, and if I did said much, then I did really well with this video. I think I did kind of well with explaining my thoughts. Even though it isn't scripted, I just took down notes, but again, please respect my opinions of this tier list. If you don't agree with me, then that's fine, but I really wish you know, I just wish I wouldn't get ridiculed for my opinions, because, you know, opinions are opinions at the end of the day, and opinions are valid. I'm not trying to say these as facts, so yeah. I might do another one for Phineas and Ferb, and I do have a rant video coming up that is related to Phineas and Ferb, and I won't say what it is, but it will be related to Phineas and Ferb. I won't tell you what it is, and I won't tell you when it is come out, because I don't know when it's gonna come out. It really depends on my mood, because I really had school. I have a ton of schoolwork to finish, and honestly, it's just me being lazy in general. So I'll see you guys in the next video, and take care of yourselves, because COVID-19 shit.